Never stop. I'm one step closer to the mountain top. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's one for my album.
Okay.
Which I have for sale on the table. Yes. Go ahead.
All right. Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Pasha. I'm the facilitator this morning. Is this mic working, Kai? All right. Wonderful. It's good. So our guest speakers this morning are Roger and Lydia Weiss. But the real guest of honor is Annie Nava. And so she's not here in material form, but hopefully by the end of the service, whether you knew her in her earthly, excuse me just a minute, I'm gonna try a different mic maybe. Shall I speak into that one? You're fine online. Oh, but it isn't working for the people here on the lanai so well.
Well, that's because of the background.
But you can turn it up, right? Can you?
We can hear you though.
You know what? Let me try this one and see if it's a little better. Okay. Am I on? All right. So, trying a different mic.
Sure.
Well, there's.
Pasha, why don't you use this one?
So I don't know why it's going.
I don't know.
Online.
You don't know. We
Kai,
don't
how about
know. Here we go. Okay, let's try this one.
I don't know. Is there...
Yeah, because we won't be at the same time anyway.
It's plugged in.
Okay.
They can't see you on the screen.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, okay. Okay, sorry for the technical difficulties. We're trying to get the microphones adjusted so that they work for the people physically present as well as the online audience. Okay, this one was working before, Kai?
It was all working before.
Yeah.
For some reason, this one's not happening.
Okay. Okay, testing. Okay, something just happened.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. Ah, I see. Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. And maybe everything will work now. Okay. Hello. Yes, everything works now. Okay, so I will give this back to you.
I'll take care of it.
Yeah.
Well, okay. All good now. Okay, so thank you for your patience, Lanai people. We're still learning. So anyway, you were hearing the music of Dick Franklin, and we're so happy to have him back. He did play for New Thought previously before the pandemic, but then he was off island for a couple of years and fairly recently returned. So this morning we're going to start off with a reading from Science of Mind magazine, and Patty Wall will do the honors. Let's see, let me just turn.
Okay.
Okay, I'm just going to turn this a little bit so you're visible. Okay.
Okay, the reading today is on complaining, pathway to powerlessness. The law of attraction guarantees that complainers will always
have a lifetime supply of things to complain about. The time will come when we will let our conversation be in heaven and refuse to talk about, read, or think about those things that ought not to be. Ernest Holmes. Have you ever known a chronic complainer? The danger for such a person is that the universe has extremely big ears and is always listening, and it can't take a joke. It magnifies what we focus our energy on and expands our experience of it. The more we complain about something, the more we will draw to us more things to complain about. Maya Angelou offered us a solution when she wrote, "What you're supposed to do when you don't like a thing is change it. If you can't change it, change the way you think about it. Don't complain." The practice is to be mindful that with clarity comes choice. We can put whatever tempts us to complain about into one or two categories. Either it's an issue we can and therefore should do something about, or it's beyond our control and we should release it. Whenever we chronically complain about the same thing, we are granting it permission to remain unchanged in our experience. Complainers are powerless. As Maya Angelou inferred, if you can't change it, at least change the way you think about it. And therein lies your power. The next time you catch yourself complaining, take a moment to pause, breathe, and be still. If you know it is beyond the sphere of your influence, let it go and be done with it. If not, you have work to do. In either case, when your head hits the pillow at night, you'll be happier, and no doubt, so will those around you. And that's a good thing. So our affirmation for today is, I'll read it first, and then you can read it with me, say it with me. Today I commit to listening to my words. If I catch myself complaining about anything, I see it as a call for either action or acceptance. And I am at peace. Okay, we'll just say, now you can say it with me. Today I commit to listening to my words.
Commit
To my word.
listening to
To my words. If I catch myself complaining about anything,
If I catch myself complaining about anything,
I see it as a call for either action or acceptance, and I am at peace.
I see it as a call for either action or acceptance, and I am at peace.
And so it is. Thank you.
That reminds me of the Serenity Prayer. I was just trying to think. Yeah, that reading, it very much reminded me of the Alcoholics Anonymous Serenity Prayer. Let's see, God grant me the
Serenity.
Okay, who knows it for sure?
Who's an alcoholic? I mean, previous.
Well, the program is much bigger. It includes every member of
Yeah.
the society, so it's a good prayer for everyone.
The wisdom.
God
Oh,
grant
that's
me,
the wisdom. Okay.
God grant me
The
the
courage
serenity
to
to
change
accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
Mm.
All right.
Amen.
So that is our, we'll say that's our opening prayer.
Mm.
Okay. So it's kind of an unusual program today in the sense that the main focus, our main focus is on a.
I'm not sure your mic is on. I wouldn't turn that one off. It takes us a while to link in.
Yeah, I didn't think, but I think it might have turned itself.
Maybe it's battery.
You could, I don't know. But you can
Okay,
use the.
now it's green. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Sorry. All right. Now it's working as intended.
Getting a little buzz.
Yeah.
So, it might be going low.
Okay.
You could also use the other microphone.
Okay.
Oops.
Okay, you know what?
It just dropped.
It just dropped again. So I think this one, you can take this back to Kai, and I will in fact forget this. Okay, old reliable. Okay. All right. So Kaimana, do you think the online people heard our opening prayer or nobody?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, the battery's dead. Oh.
Okay. Maybe I'll say it again just to reinforce it for myself. I'd like to have it committed to memory. Okay, because the Science of Mind readings seem to lead into it. So let's do it again, Lanai people, and anyone who already knows it that's watching, you can join us too. So the Serenity Prayer. Okay, dear Lord, please grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So we started with a song, right? No, we didn't have a song yet that was part of the main
No,
service.
I guess we did.
We didn't. So now is the time.
Mm.
And yes, so the people who were here early were enjoying the prelude music. Now this is the real thing. And Dick, if you want to say anything about the song, you're welcome to.
I think the song explains itself. Spirit leads, spirit guides, spirit sees and spirit decides. What I need, spirit provides. I look out the window while spirit drives. Spirit said, let's take a trip along with Cousin Pele on a mighty ship. The journey begins with your birth on the mighty ship called Mother Earth. It says, Spirit leads, Spirit guides, Spirit sees and Spirit decides. What I need, Spirit provides. I look out the window while Spirit drives. Spirit says, it's lots of fun, taking several dozen trips around the sun. You'll have all kinds of thrills and chills, and then I guarantee you're gonna want to do it again, because Spirit leads, Spirit guides, Spirit sees and Spirit decides. What I need, Spirit provides. I look out the window while Spirit drives. Now, Spirit is much smarter than me, like Einstein times infinity. So I just go with the flow, 'cause I don't know what Spirit knows, because Spirit leads, Spirit guides, Spirit sees and Spirit decides. What I need, Spirit provides. I look out the window while Spirit drives. I said, Spirit sees and Spirit guides, Spirit leads and Spirit decides. What I need, Spirit provides. I look out the window while Spirit drives. I look out the window while Spirit drives.
Thank you. That was wonderful. Good
Wow.
reminder, too.
Mm.
Yeah. And welcome to the new people that just arrived. So I now get the pleasure of introducing New Thought as not a person, but as a sort of a special energy. And the history, a little bit of history, because this particular service, we are in fact trying to get a sense of our longer history. We want to all live in the moment, but yet there were things that happened to bring us to this moment. So, so this Kona group, New Thought Center of Hawaii, evolved from a religious science church. When I came into the picture, it was called Kona Community Church of Religious Science. And the founding happened in 1971. And the woman that we're honoring today, Annie Naba, her signature is on that document. You can see it if you want. It's on the table on the side there. So we have held Sunday services pretty much continuously from that time, in Keaho for many years, and then since 1999 here in Kealakekua. And thanks to the pandemic of 2020 and 2021, kind of hopefully petering out in 2022, we have developed the technical skills to hold services online when necessary. Our connection to the wider world is through International New Thought Alliance, which is an umbrella organization that brings together groups and individuals who share certain common beliefs and attitudes. And the one from which we got our name is the idea that a new thought embodied in consciousness produces a new condition. That's attributed to Judge Thomas Troward. INTA also includes many unity and religious science churches, most of which now call themselves Centers for Spiritual Living. To learn more about our history, you can visit the website, www.newthoughtcenterofhawaii.com. And our mission that we strive for is to provide a sanctuary of aloha for the nourishment, development, and evolution of each individual's unique spiritual path. And we describe ourselves as a multi-faith spiritual community. And I kind of enjoy a little bit like a paradox, but sort of an interesting balance between community and individuality. Yeah. So is there anyone who's here for the first time today? Is there anyone who's returning after being away for a long time? Okay. Okay. So, and all of you that raised your hands have a microphone. So can you each just say where you were and what brought you back?
I was in Southern California, where I met a woman who was dreaming of living in Hawaii. And I said, well, I know a place. So we came back.
Oh, wow.
This is the online.
Excuse me, but it appears that way, but it probably still is because this has happened other times as well. Okay. Hopefully you online folks are still with us. I can still see the image on the computer. Okay, so that's how Dick thought he was moving away, but then the woman in California persuaded him that maybe it'd be worthwhile to come back, and here he is. And welcome. And Roger and Lydia, did you want to say something about how what brought you back and where have you been?
Well, Pasha, you're the one who brought us back. So about 20 years ago, we were here every Sunday for about 15 years.
Try 40 years ago.
Well,
40 years ago, we were here every Sunday for 15 years.
Yeah.
And we suddenly decided we needed to make a change. And so we're back reminiscing about
Yeah,
those 20 years.
that's wonderful.
Yeah.
We feel the energy of your previous gifts even when you aren't here in the body.
Thank you.
Yeah, which is also true of Annie Nava, the today's honoree. Yeah.
And Pasha, there was a gal over there who raised her hand too.
Oh, a person who's been away for a while?
Right.
Oh, great. So you don't have a mic, so I will just paraphrase you if you want to say.
I was off island, Nicaragua, visiting my family, and then Michigan visiting his family, and now we're back.
Free, right?
Mm.
Okay. Remind me your name. That his. Pardon? Selen. Okay, so Bree and Selen, welcome back from your mainland visiting. It's good to connect with family, and it's good to come back to the island. Yeah. Okay. So we're rearranging the schedule this morning just a bit, because what we wanted to allow for is if in the time that we normally have for miracles and ordinaries, we also wanted to allow the opportunity for other people to share about Anne besides Roger and Lydia, if there were people that had memories of her. So the miracles and ordinaries will come after the main program, but we would still like to have another song before I introduce them. Okay.
I love my life. I love my life. I love my life. How I love my life. Every moment unfolds before my eyes with infinite sweet surprise. I love my life. I love my life. With every beat, my heart says yes to peace and ease and happiness. And with every breath that comes and goes, abundant blessing overflows. I love my life. I love my life. I love what I see. I love what I do. I love being me. I love me loving you. Sorry. I love my life. I love my life. I love my life. I love my life. Every moment unfolds before my eyes with infinite sweet surprise. I love my life. I love my life. I feel the breeze. It calls my name. The swaying trees, they do the same. All things within the everything, all heaven and nature sing. I love my life. I love my life. I love what I see. I love what I do. I love being me. I love loving you. I love my life. I love my life. I love my life. I love my life. Every moment unfolds before my eyes with infinite sweet surprise. I love my life. I love my life. I love my life. I love my life.
Wow, that was wonderful.
Yeah.
If anyone's puzzled about this, it's just another form of applause. It came from the International Sign Language, which is just sort of holding your hands in front of you and wiggling the fingers. But then at New Thought, we sort of evolved it to, if you really like it, raise your hands up high, and it's like a standing ovation. So now I get to introduce Roger, Lydia, and Anne. And since Roger and Lydia are the ones that are here in the body, I think I'll go first with them. Yeah. So they've lived in Hawaii since 82. In fact, they even know the exact day they arrived. It was December 28th, 1982.
Mm-hmm.
And
which was Aninaba's birthday.
so so in subsequent years, when we celebrated Annie Nava's birthday, it was also celebrating their transition from New Yorkers to people of Hawaii. And they discovered New Thought Church fairly soon afterwards. It was called New Thought Church of Hawaii at that time. Just I guess in 1999 or 2000, the church was changed to Center, but it's still the same initials. And we in preparing for this service, we were trying to kind of pinpoint some of the dates, but we got fairly close. Sometime between the mid 80s and the mid 90s, there was their board service, which was somewhere between 6 and 10 years. And within that time period, both of them served terms as president, and between them, they covered all the other offices at one time or another.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a very important and special time for New Thought Center that decade, because that was when we undertook this kind of experiment of how to be a spiritual center or church without having a single person wearing the minister hat. And it was really kind of a bold experiment. And Roger, Lydia, and Anne, I think, were the key people kind of dedicated to making this work. And currently, Roger remains an active practicing psychologist. He's the executive director of the Hawaii Island Psychological Association. He holds a PhD from Hofstra University in New York City. And we were remembering one of the old timers that used to come regularly to New Thought Church. He came up to Roger one Sunday and said, "I know what PhD stands for. Pretty hot dude." And Lydia has been, I believe she's a charter member of the Kona Choral Society, which was formerly the Kona Music Society and previously the Kona Community Chorus. But she's hung in there through all the changes and served on their board, including in the role of president. So I think these leadership skills that they kind of honed in their New Thought service have been a blessing to the community in these other ways over the years. They still greatly value what they learned in those years of being very active in New Thought Church, and they also are greatly inspired by the Abraham teachings, which they discovered at some point subsequently. And they wanted me to read this few paragraphs about Anne, which were in the New Thought newsletter, because they thought it kind of summed it up well. But they will provide, they'll sort of flesh it out and provide stories to go with it. But here's what, I don't, Patty, did you have a personal connection with Anne? No. Okay. So I don't think anybody that's on the lanai at this moment actually did have the pleasure to be acquainted with her, but it's not too late. That's part of the purpose of today's service. So Anne played a special role as administrator and program chair after the departure of the last minister to be employed by New Thought Center of Hawaii. She provided guidance as the church explored what it meant to share leadership and function without a single individual in the role of minister. Lydia and Roger observed her special leadership style, her originality, her joie de vivre. Anne made her transition on September 14th, less than 2 weeks before New Thought celebrated its 51st birthday and delayed celebration of its 50th Jubilee. And most of the current members and friends did not have the opportunity to know her personally. She chose not to attend services sometime in the mid-90s, although she was an active student of A Course in Miracles until the pandemic hit, attending weekly meetings at Old Airport Park. Roger and Lydia will attempt to bring Anne to life with their stories, so all attendees will get a sense of who she was.
Yep.
Anne liked to say, it's never too late to have a happy childhood. She did not act her age. After she retired from teaching, she took college courses. She took up sailing in her 60s and learned to play bridge in her 70s. In her 80s, she tried ziplining. She loved culture, travel, and learning. As a young woman coming of age in the late 1940s, she refused to be limited by narrow stereotypes. She traveled independently, teaching in post-war France and Japan, and accepting a position in territorial Hawaii on the island of Molokai. She was active in sports when that was not common for women. She played tennis from youth through her 80s. She enjoyed horseback riding. And although she was a good student, as a young teenager, she got in trouble for playing football rough. In spite of growing up in the South, she rejected all forms of prejudice. She married a person of another race when it was still illegal in some parts of the United States. So I think that was all I needed to say as a preliminary. So now I'm going to turn it over to Roger and Lydia.
Thank you, Pasha.
Thank you. Wonderful.
Yeah, I'll just review a little bit. We had a wonderful minister when Roger and I first came, and we were meeting at the Bank of Hawaii in a little room, and her name was Betty White. Lots of light, white. And, she just kept saying, some days you guys will not need a minister. And she really meant it. She could see that we were all really capable people. And she started cultivating us and preparing us. Like she taught me to lead meditation. She taught all of us to be presenters, just like facilitators, like Pasha's doing today. And then she obviously taught Annie Naba how to be the administrator. She had all those abilities, but guiding her to do that. And then she left us, and here we were, a group. And what we did is we took turns every Sunday speaking and sharing about some subject that was new thought or close to our hearts. So Betty was really the instigator to this church the way it is right now, or this group the way it is right now. And then Anne, let me just see, we wrote a couple of points, not too many. Yeah, so, and Roger also, he and several other people in the congregation became licensed to perform, of course, weddings. And what happened, Roger, immediately after you got your license?
Oh, I said, gee, I don't want to perform a funeral, but that was the first one, a memorial, before I did a wedding.
Like the fear comes up right away, right? So there it was. He got it over with. So so she covered all the bases. Yeah. But Anne always has had. She didn't really have an easy life when she was a child. She was her mom was really the only one in the household. The father was in the military or something, and just so she had, in those days, a single mom. That was a big thing in those days. And so she grew up like that, and then grew up with uncles and aunts, and just she appreciated everything. And later on in her life, she got to know her father. I think he actually helped her with college fees because he had been in the military. But she didn't have what I would call an easy life. But yet she always, as Pasha said, she was seeking for having a happy childhood no matter what. And no matter what we did, she would always come up with little party favors or little statements that we could each read and feel good about. So, yeah, go ahead,
I just
Roger.
want to say she was so open, and we'll keep telling you how she was open, but she was inspiring. And she inspired, for example, Lydia would never be up here today before Anne inspired her to lead meditations.
Right.
Like that. Or so one of the things we want is for each of you to think about people who inspired you, or people you've inspired. And you may or may not know people you inspired. That's the amazing thing. We touch people and we don't know that they were touched. But as we're speaking about Anne inspiring us, think about ways you've inspired others and ways you've been inspired. For example, I was a facilitator like Pasha many times here, and it just struck me that what I do now, besides my private practice as a psychologist, I coordinate all the continuing education programs for therapists on the island. I'm a facilitator. That's what I do. And I learned it at New Thought. Now, it's a fancy title, executive director, but actually I'm a cat herder. That's what I am. Bringing people together, and sometimes they're going in all different directions. So, but I got that out of being at New Thought and knowing that you can just coordinate what's going on, truly. So as we're talking about ways that Anne inspired us, think about ways that you've been inspired or inspired others, so we can always make it personal in that way.
Yeah. Yeah, so let's just take one moment to have that intention that you either think about it now or in the next few weeks that it shows up and the light bulb goes on or someone says something to you. Let's take a couple of deep breaths.
Go into that.
Okay, so thank you.
You want to have it?
No, it's
No.
okay.
If we have other little interludes, you
Yeah.
can use it to signal them.
So I did mention that Anne was a child brought up by a single mom in a very tough time, and I think that's why she really connected to that inner guidance because it was necessary. She was, you know, on her own a lot. And so, in some ways, it was good because she had all these great ideas about going horseback riding, trying all these things. And so, it's not always bad to be alone because then you get to be all one with one. So, when she was guiding all of us, that's what she did. She used a lot of her wisdom by connecting. It's, I think, just a real important point that we can all make sure we take a moment is all it takes to connect to our higher selves and ask for guidance. And it was a big job because she did, and I think Roger wants to tell you about the incredible presenters that we had for many years.
Yeah, it was intriguing. She would go to the, as Pasha mentioned, the International New Thought Alliance conferences, and that would be one place she would meet people, but she would be open to meet people all around. We had Ho'oponopono teachers, Mona Simeona and Haleakala Hewlin, and they came here and spoke and then would do Ho'oponopono workshops in which being aware of releasing moment to moment. We would learn about things of that sort. From the Course in Miracles. How many people are familiar with the Course in Miracles? Yeah, so, she brought in Jerry Jampolsky one time from the Course in Miracles, and that was amazing. And it was a time when, we could really embody that, is this worth my peace of mind?
We're still doing it all the time.
We're still saying that, is this worth my peace of mind? And keep releasing things of that sort. She brought in religious teachers of all different backgrounds. We had metaphysical rabbis, Rabbi Nathan Siegel, who would sing. He was a 13th generation Hasidic rabbi who sang songs from the Course of Miracles. Wild, mind-bending. We once had a Monsignor come. Then we had nobody for one Easter Sunday. And there was this Brahmin priest who could come, but we wanted, people who were more Christian and, but this Brahmin priest came with robes and sat on a table and he said, I could speak about anything, whatever you'd like. So we said, well, why don't you, speak about Easter?
Anne
said, why don't you speak about Easter? So he spoke about, he did a meditation. Breathe in Jesus, release Jesus. So we went out to lunch after that, and somebody said, I really like that meditation, but he talked too much about Jesus, really. It was interesting. You think the things that would happen.
Yeah.
We've had Alan Cohen was there, Swami Beyondananda. How many people are familiar with Swami Beyondananda? Okay. His Ananda means bliss in Sanskrit, and he's a comedian of spirituality and is beyond bliss. He calls himself a cross between Ram Dass and Haagen-Dazs, mostly Haagen-Dazs. Yeah. His website is wakeuplaughing.com. It's worth checking out, wakeuplaughing.com.
He sends a little message
I
every
get a
day.
humorous message from him every day. And I've discovered my new religion through him, which is fundamentalism. First da fun and later da mental. Yeah. So we had Anne would research and bring so many people, and it was just incredibly inspiring for us.
One of the things that I want to make sure to tell you, so I contacted my friend Fun, who is an artist. Some of you might know her, and she was part of this core group. And Anne would really prepare all of us. And so one day she was sharing, because she has a lot of wisdom. She's from Vietnam and went through a lot of difficulty, but has come to this place of New Age thinking and being very connected with her art. And so then she said, Anne, I'm just so nervous, that she was going to speak. And Anne said to her, Fun, no matter what happens, remember one thing, you are loved. Fun. So I contacted her to say, do you remember anything special about Anne? And she said, well, that's what I remember. And from then on, she's gone on to do many talks and traveled to the mainland, to art galleries. And she says, I always, always remember I am loved before I speak.
Mm.
And that gets me through anything, no matter what happens.
Mm.
So, sometimes a little thing we instill in someone will touch them for the rest of their lives, way after you don't see them, way after they're gone. But that notion still lives on in your heart, and you can grab it whenever you need it. So those are the things that Anne did for each of us. She really just inspired us and uplifted us to do things we had never done before. And so we started by doing the Sunday talks, and then she started finding these incredible people, like Roger said. Yeah. Go ahead, honey.
Well, one of the things that Anne heard about was community building from Scott Peck. And actually, apparently, this is a book I gave to New Thought years ago that Pasha just showed me, The Different Drum by Scott Peck, an amazing book about community building and peace. So Anne discovered this, and as a result, I went over to Honolulu to do a workshop on community building. And what it was, I know now that you do that at board meetings, and it's a way of emptying, freeing yourself so you can actually be totally present. But when I went to this, that Anne inspired me, I went to Honolulu. It was 2 days with no agenda at all, with about 50, 60 people sitting around. And what happens is first go through the stages of this community building. The first stage is pseudo community, where everybody's polite and nice to each other. Isn't it great we're doing this? And then slowly move into chaos. And by chaos this is how I can fix you. If you just do it my way, it'll be great. And people go through this stage of chaos and hopefully after a while you move into emptiness, emptying, releasing whatever your issues are or your prejudices, and come to true community. So that came out of that workshop, and then we brought back one of the teachers and about that, and did a program here. And it's a way of releasing and being free personally.
And Roger, actually, after he did the workshop in Honolulu with another church there, another very open group, he went to Nashville, Tennessee, to study with this man called Bill Smith, who then came back to New Thought. And we had an incredible group, not only the members, but a lot of community members really wanted this, because we wanted to be in community and not have leaders and not have people telling you what to do. And the tendency is, if you tell me your problem, I know what to do. I fix mine like that, do it my way. And that's the ego, of course, we know that. But to be able to be still and then let that person completely tell you what it is, then the notion is that once you empty and once I'm with you, then spirit starts connecting to you and giving you guidance. And we can do that with ourselves. We can do that with each other, to not jump in and try to fix it. It's not an easy process. You really have to discipline yourself, because your ego and your mind's going, well, I could do this. If he would only do that, he'd be fine. No, he's got to get it from himself. It's got to come from within, from his own connection, her own connection. So it was an incredible discipline we all learned. And then doing it at the board meetings, what happened is we would spend a lot of time emptying, but the board meeting would go like that. 1, 2, 3. The agenda would get done. It was nothing holding, but what if? And, there was none of that. It was just open. Everything was open and easy flowing, because we didn't have our agendas trying to get in there to stop the energy. It's phenomenal. And I'm glad that there is some continuation of that. And then we followed up a year or two later, I don't remember how long after, and we did another community group. Again, a lot of the people were from our community, not just a new thought. People were yearning to be able to sit together and allow each other to find their own guidance. It really an incredible move that was already, we had already started it by sitting in circles, or maybe we started sitting in circles after that. I can't remember.
I was going to talk about the principle of not fixing, but you said it much better than I
Well,
would.
we all know what that's like. It's like, oh, you hate to see someone in pain. You hate to see someone going through hardship. You really want to help, but you can't. They've got their own system, their own guidance, and there's nothing more powerful than your own guidance to tell you what to do and where to go next.
Now, the other thing about inspiring and being inspired is that Anne made the connection with the massage school, which is how come we're all here with the connection, initially with the massage school and then coming to this beautiful area and venue.
Yeah, so the massage, we were at the Keho Beach Hotel. It was a beautiful place, pavilion right on the water. We could see the Honus. It was just delightful, fresh air like this. And then they cut us out of there and moved us across the street in this huge building. And the massage school also came and started their school there. And it was delightful people, Lynn and Peter Wynn. And so we started again having a relationship with them and partnering with them. And so, bye guys.
Bye.
So anyhow, that was the seed of the relationship, and which eventually, I believe the massage school invited New Thought to come up here and share this space, and it was perfect. And it has unfolded perfectly. So Anne was the inspiration again. You know, she really managed herself and found what would work for the group and what would work for the church. And not being closed in. She really just kept including and being inclusive. Yeah.
Before I forget, I want to say hi, Wilda.
Oh, Wilda's online. Yeah. Probably some other folks that are on the mainland. Yeah. Yeah. I wanted to take a moment, one of those little breath kind of moments, to give each of us a chance to reflect on others and really allowing them, and to have that be a theme in our lives, to listen to people without fixing. It's such an incredible concept that everything we need is within, and to know that for others and trust.
Anything else?
I'm going to intend that each one of us here within the next few weeks has an opportunity to let someone empty, and to be a listener and to open up that space for their guidance to come. And be compassionate, of course. It doesn't mean being detached, but it still means managing ourselves and our ego. You want to ring your bell?
Yes.
closing word.
I wanted to just so many times, a part of what we talked about the massage school and then the continuum of the relationship and moving here. It's just so many times there, and we learned this somewhere, I don't remember where, but we are standing on pillars of other people's work, other people's love. And it's so important to not just think all this is just happening, but to remember there were so many other people who set the tone, who set the intention, who are even still here with us, giving us this foundation. You know, it's just so exciting for me to, I even think about my ancestors and all the struggle they went through and all the hardships. And yet they are, in my mind, delighting with my life now. And they're my pillars, and I can ask anything of them. And I know it is given. You know, I just know it, and I know they're so happy that I'm having a great life, and that it's making up for the hardships they went through. And I think that's something Anne did. She went through so many hardships as a young girl, a child, and she made up for it for herself and for everybody around her, knowing how important it is. I just wanted to mention that. Is there anything else we want to share about Anne? Or any questions? She passed away and she was about 95, right, Pasha?
Well, actually, she would have turned 94 this December.
On our arrival date, yes. Yeah. Erin?
I'm so appreciative. I don't know if it's a question. I just want to share my gratitude for. Wait a second. Could you do this so
That they can hear it.
people can hear? Yeah. Okay. I wasn't really wanting to be on camera today.
Well, you can hide,
Yeah,
but
okay.
speak.
I'm in my work clothes, and I always feel like a little self-conscious. I'm just really. It resonates with me in my life's journey to really feel into the pillar that you're talking about. And when you talked about Anne when you began, you didn't mention about the hardships, you know, and that kind of progressed and came out later. And I appreciate that so much because, at least for me, in hearing about people's stories, you know, we think when we're growing up that the only people that succeed a lot of times are those that have had a lot of love and a lot of money, positivity, abundance of everything. And then the longer we live, we recognize people have done so much, yes, because they're born into their family and the ancestors are there, but they've done a solo journey in so many ways. We all have, and we accumulate our experiences through our inspiration, like you talked about, and our healthy desires. And so when I'm at New Thought, I just wanted to say, this is probably one of my most favorite services. It's peaceful, it's sweet, it's small, but it's so large in spirit because of what you're speaking about an elder that you were inspired by and came through to the New Thought Center. And I feel that way about her now. And that's why I came. I wanted to know about Anne Kanaba. I wanted to know how her influences came about in the people that are here today. And I feel that way so much about Pasha and now about you, because I didn't really know you before. And so all that to say my appreciation, but also just a question that came up for me about Anne. You didn't bring a picture of her, but obviously she was involved with this progression to be a spiritual center for what, 5 decades? Did for you, is there a couple pictures that you'd be willing to bring up?
There are pictures on the table over there.
Yeah, I looked and I didn't see. I only found one, but I was wondering if you guys wanted to pass that your favorite pictures of her.
Yeah.
And I guess then also, you said she was married,
Yes, to Jimmy Inaba.
Jimmy Inaba, and that's somebody she met here.
Yeah. Yeah. She might have met sort of letter writing at some point and then came here to meet him. It was very sweet. They got married at the Kona Inn. That was their honeymoon. The Kona Inn at that point, the shops that are on the ocean.
Yeah.
They were hotel rooms then. So
Well, they got married at Makolakawa Church.
that's right, across
And
the
then
street.
took one of the sampans to go over to the old Kona Inn like that, and stayed in the old Kona Inn.
Yeah,
Across the
it's
street,
so
yeah.
sweet. Yeah, and so it was a time of prejudice.
Yeah. And then he was a Hawaiian.
He was Japanese, even more
Okay.
prejudiced because of the war.
So that would have been in the 30? 19? No,
40s,
40s.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
He was
That's what it
married
is.
in 58.
Uh-huh.
Married in
Okay,
1958.
here's, I'm gonna start these going around.
And Anne would come to all the services. Jimmy would never come, but he would make a lay every week for
One or
speakers.
two lays every week.
Yeah.
He made lays, never failed
To bring. She
to
brought.
to make it and give it to Anne to bring to the service.
Uh-huh.
So although he never attended church ever, his spirit
Ever.
ever. I don't
Not
think
even
I
a
ever
holiday
saw him at
party.
New Thought. No, he had his own life, golfing and this and that. What's that?
Yeah.
But he
Yeah.
always provided lays.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
And that was part of their relationship. He would support her
Mhm.
to do what she wanted, but not necessarily
Mm.
jump in and do it with her. It wasn't his.
And they had a full life without children.
No, they have one daughter, and Sharon Inaba.
Is she alive?
Yes, she's very much alive. Yeah, and she took care of her mom in these last several months, and then she had a little breakfast celebration for her at Anne's house for several of us who have known her a long time. It was very sweet. It was
Mm.
just a few weeks ago, so it was a really nice
Mm.
completion.
She lives here on the island.
Yeah, she lives down south, but she's going to move here on Palani Road where Anne has. Anne and Jimmy built this house when there was no traffic on Palani, and then suddenly there are cars constantly. Big changes. Yeah, thank you, Aaron.
Thank you.
Thank you for asking those questions. And Patty has a little collection of pictures. Aaron can look at them and then pass them around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say that
The mic.
I find the sharing of his support
Yes.
and that way that he was doing what he did to support her,
Mm.
almost like equally as inspiring.
Mm.
When you say, well, look at the people who inspired you,
Hmm.
there's also the people who have supported us in the way they could or whatever. There's
Right.
also
Mm-hmm.
that for me, there's an aha there too.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Sometimes that support is the person who just listened,
Yeah.
Mm.
right?
Beautiful.
Who listens and maybe takes it on to another person or practices it. Yeah, it's endless.
Mm.
But you're right.
Thanks,
His
Patty.
commitment for every Sunday was pretty amazing.
Mm.
A quiet force behind her.
Mm.
Hmm.
Well, thank you, Roger and Lydia. This was amazing.
Mm.
Yeah.
I have a picture of her and her husband here.
Yeah,
Oh, goody.
there's one of her ziplining at the age of 80. You can pass them around. So
Oh, she-
we've already seen them.
But
You
she
can-
wants to put
Kai.
it on the.
Oh, for the live streamers. Sure. Thank you.
Yeah,
So there he is, the quiet force behind Anne.
Mhm.
right. Always providing,
Mm.
always loving.
And she said his church was sort of the golf course. He would play golf on weekends, but
Mm.
Yeah.
but he was definitely there,
Mm.
as a steady support for Anne and their
Mm.
daughter Sharon.
I'm not sure if it is
A little
This
lower.
was a little lower.
radiant.
Yeah, this was Anne was celebrating
Yeah, with Virginia.
the wedding of Virginia, who was another of the founding members of the original church in 1971. And this was a wonderful occasion that took place at Keoho Beach Hotel, the same place that the church. Yeah, this shows her spirit of fun, you know, and even if you take time to look at some of the old articles and albums on the table, they had so many parties, costumes, excursions, like yeah, just Anne was always open for something delightful to happen.
I used to have long black hair.
Yeah.
I used to have hair.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there
so she
is.
took up sailing in her 60s, and she did these, what did they call them, road scholar trips for older, you know, older people particularly, but although you could take a younger friend if you wanted.
And then I was looking for one of her daughter. Is this her in the front?
No, there's a baby picture. There's a picture of Sharon as a baby. I don't have any of her as an adult in that collection. Sharon provided these pictures, so she didn't.
Here's the baby. This must be Anne when she was much younger.
So that's Anne with Sharon.
Yeah.
That's her little daughter, who's now 60. Yeah.
Thanks,
Okay.
Aaron. Thanks for doing that.
Okay. And yeah, so let's see. There was something I wanted to mention about Anne. I asked her one time, how did she find these amazing speakers that came to New Thought? And some of the responses Roger and Lydia have talked about how she found some of them, but also she was an avid reader of the newspaper, and Sharon mentioned this, even, you know, into her 90s. This was important to her. And in the 80s and 90s, newspapers were still extremely important. And she would find out about some important famous teacher that was coming to a conference in Hawaii, and then she would reach out, and it's like, oh, I read that you're going to be on Oahu in January. Would you like to visit our church? And Elizabeth Kubler-Ross was one of the most famous people that came with in that way. And in relation to that visit in particular, she said she had asked Elizabeth, well, you must get so many invitations. Why did you accept ours? And she said, well, your invitation was handwritten and, you know, it was personal. And so that touched her, the fact that it was an actual handwritten letter from
a human.
And that was a very special day. And she also made a connection. New Thought had a strong peace theme going back as far as I can remember. We used to do a collaborative event with the Baha'is. It was the Candlelight Peace March down in Kailua Village. And so Anne connected with the Spark Matsunaga Institute of Peace, which is part of the University of Hawaii, and they have had a lot of speakers came through that connection, and they were already on Oahu, right? So it was just we even had when there was a sale on inter-island tickets at a good price, we would buy up quite a few of them so that we could offer these people, you know, we would pay their way to come if they'd speak to our church. So yeah, she was just so resourceful and a thoughtful thing. She must have been extremely well organized. She was a librarian in her professional life. And as she grew older and she couldn't be quite as active as she had been previously. I think she went through all of these things she had collected, and her friends would get something in the mail. It might be pictures of a birthday party from 15 years ago, or the birth announcement for your grandchild, or a wedding invitation, things like that, that if she cared about a person, she kind of collected things that she thought would be meaningful to them and returned them at the appropriate time.
Mhm.
So just
very thoughtful.
yeah, exceedingly caring and thoughtful. And yeah, and I think she also was, I felt like she was a personal kind of mentor and teacher to me, practically from the time I met her. And one thing that I think she did that was exceedingly wonderful was we're remembering her today kind of, for the special gifts to New Thought, but she didn't care about having a memorial service. She just left it to her daughter, do whatever feels good to you. But when she was, let's see, she was maybe 85. She decided to have what she called a gratitude party. She noticed that she was getting older, and a lot of her friends were getting older too. But at that point, a whole lot of them were still active enough to at least come to a party. And so, but instead of saying it was about her, it was really about that she wanted to express gratitude to these people that had been meaningful in her life. And it was really quite elegant, and good music. People got dressed up, good food. It was at the Royal Kona Resort, I think. So yeah, so she didn't need to have a memorial service because she already had her gratitude party when she was fit enough to enjoy it, and most of her friends were too.
Mhm.
So yeah.
One other thing that was amazing is the last couple of weeks of her life, I know I had visited her and she was occasionally smiling. I know Lydia was there very close to the end. And just before she was dying, she had an occasional smile on her face.
Always.
Yeah.
Always a smile.
So,
It's like she was in this, looking at you from this other place. The smile was coming from her higher self as she's laying there and can't talk anymore, but she's still radiating love and happiness.
And these binders that are on the table, they've been sitting in on a shelf in the New Thought office for decades. But in preparation for this service, we got them out. And this is really an amazing gift from Anne. I'm sure she's the one that assembled it. It's like newspaper clippings and church programs. I think they start in the late 80s and maybe earlier. Anyway, particularly during this period that we're talking about, when New Thought became a church, not without a minister, but with many ministers. And yeah, so we really have our history there on that table, or a significant part of it. So thank you, Anne. And, is there anybody else that wants to do a brief sharing before we move into the offertory?
I'll just put this one council of elders picture up because this has you three.
These were the 3 founding members, including Anne, and everyone who had served as a board president at the time of the event, except for, I think, Will Rosdell couldn't make it. And was still alive at that time. I think 2008, I believe.
Who's still alive in this picture other than the 3 of you?
And then there was the board, the people who were on the board at that time, that our idea was that we wanted to learn from our elders. So, okay, well, let's see. So I see. So there's myself, Elizabeth Terrio, Joan Gannon, Lydia Weiss, past presidents, Annie Nava, Virginia, Halliday, and Mamie Bramlett, founding members, past president Roger Weiss, Manuel Roberto, Pomeka Ikulan. So those are past presidents still living. Past presidents who have passed away since then, Electra Oceana, and there were some board members that were not that were there to learn but weren't presidents. Bernie Middleton, Lorraine Cohn, Conrad Wareham. Oh, and another past president, Antonio Grafilo. Yes.
Bernie is no longer with us, right?
Do you know something I don't know?
No.
No, as far as I know, he's still living at the Regency, and he was extremely supportive during the pandemic. He gave us his stimulus checks and signed up for monthly donations.
And he joins us online. So hi, Bernie, from all of us.
Hi, Bernie.
Aloha, Bernie. Big mahalos. Okay.
All right. Asha, you're going to do the closeout, right?
Oh, yes. I need that. One more song or something?
Okay. Okay. So I need to do a special introduction of the offering because we have a matching table a matching gift on the table. Thanks to my fellow board member, Shayna Gregory. She's due back imminently. That may be why Stephen's not here this morning. He's probably getting ready for her return. She's been in Colorado for about 6 months, and to show her appreciation for New Thought Center, she offered a matching challenge. All donations put into the Koa Bowl starting, well, in the month of November. So it started last week, it's this week and next week. She will match those donations up to $1,000 limit. And that also applies to donations which are made by way of our website. So on people watching the service, the live stream, or watching the recording of the service subsequently, you can just go to the New Thought website and there's a donate button. Yes, so she says, well, open those piggy banks, find loose coins under the sofa cushions, and be as generous as you can. Make your donation go twice as far.
Wow.
And the challenge results will be announced at the New Thought Thanksgiving Potluck on November 24th. Donations are fully tax deductible. Official acknowledgments with the New Thought tax ID will be provided upon request. So, could we have some offertory music now, Dick?
I want to say thank you to Patty for putting her wonderful mana into these beautiful leis that she made. Thank you, honey.
Well, there's daylight and nightlight, black light and white light. Everything is made of light. There's earth light and sea light, all there for our delight. Everything is made of light. There are heavenly bodies that shine in the skies, reflecting the love that shines in your eyes. For the loveliest of light is eyes filled with love light. Everything is made of light. Thank you. Now there's great light, small light, together it's all light. Everything is made of light. There's dawn light, twilight, your light, and my light. Everything is made of light. Our dear Mother Earth is a star deep inside. She's cool just enough so that we can all ride through the moonlight and sunlight, all part of the one light. Everything is made of light. Everything is made of light.
Oh, beautiful. Oh.
Mm.
Well, if you really enjoyed this music that you've heard this morning from Dick, there are a few CDs at the far end of the table.
Mm.
That are, how much are they, Dick?
Oh, $10.
Okay.
And I'm playing at the Elks Lodge on Wednesday and Friday from 5 to 7.
Elks Lodge.
In Kailua.
Yeah. Did you say what days?
Wednesday and Friday from 5 to 7.
Okay.
Mm.
Wednesday, Friday, 5 to 7, Elks Lodge.
It did move. It's down where the American Legion used to be, where there used to be a movie theater apparently decades ago.
Oh,
Right
cool.
on the Kuakini Highway.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Kuakini and Hualalai.
Right. I remember that now. Walalai Theater. And then it was bought by a Christian group or something. Okay. We will be treating Roger and Lydia to lunch after service today.
Mm.
And they have chosen the Green Market up in Captain Cook. There's food trucks and, various menu choices. So New Thought's treating them. Is there anyone here that would like to be part of that lunch group?
Wish.
You have to go to
Oh.
work. Oh, darn.
Good.
Okay.
And usually they're on Sundays anyway.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Good.
Well, that works well. Then I haven't actually been for quite a while myself, so you probably can guide us what best place to sit and what are the.
There's not much place to sit. There used to be a table, and now the people sort of sit on the rock wall.
Oh,
Good.
It's
okay. We can do that. Okay. Well, thank you. So we'll do that after
Mm.
a few minutes. And I have the New Thought announcements of what to look forward to in the future. So the nearest future is lunch. But our next 3 Sundays, okay, on the 20th of November, we have Kelly Semmelsberger, The Transformative Journey of Divine Play with music by Darby Partner. Kelly does improv type comedy, and she's actually established theaters in North Carolina and in East Hawaii, and is interested in establishing a presence in Kona. She's published a book called Improv Shaman, The Transformative Journey of Divine Play. And she's very interested in the connections between spirituality and improv. Sounds original. This will be her first time at New Thought. And the following week, the 27th of November, Dr. Maria Mann will speak on Children of the Rainbow, Art Waves, and New Peace Paintings. And the first Sunday of December, the 4th, it will be a decorating party. Trim the tree, deck the lanai. And there won't be a speaker, but there'll be music and meditation. The other elements of a regular New Thought service minus the speaker. And the Christmas decorations will be all around, and we will put it all together. And a light lunch will be provided afterwards by New Thought for the decorators. Okay, we have one weekly event happening right now. The Tai Chi and Qigong class taught by Jin An Wong, starting at 4:30 on Mondays. So that's tomorrow. All levels are welcome. It's $15 a class. We have 2 monthly events. The produce giveaway, which happens on the last Sunday of the month. That'll be the 27th, immediately after service. We were having it in the parking lot during the pandemic, but we don't have to do that anymore. So it's just be right on the lanai here. But sometimes there's a tree that can't wait till the last Sunday. So I noticed, I think Patty brought some tangerines today. They look delicious. So take some on your way out. Yeah. The first Sunday of the month, the pre-service healing meditation with crystal bowls, not 8:30 to 9 in the Honua room. The next one is scheduled for December 4th. So the most important event I need to tell you about is our Thanksgiving potluck, because there's only one more Sunday before Thanksgiving, so we want to make sure people know that it's happening and start thinking about what they might like to bring. So there's a sign-up clipboard on the round table, and there's some little personal invitations with autumn leaves. You should have gotten one when you came in, but if you didn't, there's still some there. And New Thought will provide the turkey and the turkey equivalent for vegetarians. And then the rest of the meal is provided by the people who come. Okay, so that will happen on Thanksgiving Day, the 24th, starting at 4:30 with the intention to begin eating at 5. And informal kanikapila after dinner. Sharing of music, acoustic. The other special events that are on the calendar, on Monday the 21st, that's the week of Thanksgiving, is the Thanksgiving Interfaith Concert at 6 p.m. Lutheran Church at the end of Laco Street. Often New Thought has had a musical group representing us in that concert. We don't this year, but we still encourage people to attend, and there's no charge. They just bring a couple of cans of food for the food basket, or you can make a monetary donation if you prefer. And in December, we have something to look forward to, a meditation class by Mira Ohala on Saturday, the 10th of December from 10 to 12:30. We're open to volunteers to help with in various ways. Sunday service volunteers such as greeters, setup, cleanup, tech help, and workshop facilitators. If you help with the logistics of an event, you get free admission to that event in exchange for your service. And most especially with the holidays coming, we are seeking help with the holiday celebrations. First, the Thanksgiving potluck, and then Christmas Eve tends to be a big event for New Thought, and we need to get busy with that, putting it all together. So to volunteer for anything, just click reply to your New Thought newsletter, and you'll get a response. If you're not on the mailing list, if you don't get the New Thought newsletter, you can sign the guest book and to be added to the list. All right, I think that completes it. So let's, but our closing song today, because we're remembering Anne, we decided to do the closing song that she remembered, which was a slightly modified version of the peace song, Let There Be Peace on Earth. And I have paper copies for the people who are physically here. It's the yellow ones, Aaron. Oh, I think you're channeling Anne. I called you Anne. But you don't know which modification it is. You do? Because it's not present tense. There was one more modification after she was no longer active. Yeah. Okay. So, okay. So let's stand and
Ready?
Dick will lead us in singing this.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator. Family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my solemn vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.